Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1373, written by mattsgotstylebaby, Wisconsin's Whispering Grove. I was bikepacking with some buddies in the north woods of Wisconsin. It was early winter, but not very snowy, just cold. We were about 3 days into our trip, and it was getting near dusk. So we decided to go off the trail a little bit and look for a spot to set up camp. The sun is setting. That's where things got weird. Very, very weird. We saw an area that was in a sort of mini valley, grove, just some little hills, about 10 feet each, and trees on top of them. It was early winter, with barely any snow on the ground. When we started to bike to the grove, the snow started to thicken a lot. It went from 2 inches of snow to 6, then 8, then a foot. There were mostly evergreens and a few trees whose leaves hadn't fallen off all the way yet. We had to walk our bikes through it. We all wanted to turn back and find a different spot. But we had to get to where we were going. It's a biking thing. As soon as I thought about turning around, I started to think about how nice that mini valley was. It was like something else thinking for me. Kinda like when you're just a little bit drunk. My buddies all kinda just looked at each other as if we all had weird vibes. We pushed onward to the grove. Then it started to get very sunny and warm, but the snow stayed about a foot. It wasn't melting at all. We didn't really notice it at first until my friend, let's call him Jeff, took off his coat. It was like when you hear someone say, "Don't itch your face," and then your face itches. Basically, we all noticed how hot we were and started to sweat. Like we were warm, on the inside, but not the outside. It's really hard to describe. When we got to the area, we heard leaves blowing in the trees. It sounded much too loud to be from the last few leaves on the oaks and maples. It's early winter, and the closest evergreen was like 100 feet away, and these leaf sounds were right above us. I started to get a really bad feeling about it. It was like we aren't supposed to be here feeling. Most of my buddies didn't notice, but my friend, who we'll call Eric, gave me a look that said, "You feel that too?" We set our gear down and our bikes up against a tree and settled down for a bit and played some games. But after a while, it started to get dark, so we set up our tents, our little fold-up stove, and our gear. We talked and drank and smoked some ciggies. We were all having a good time for several hours. My friend Eric recommended that we should get some sleep because of how late it was. We went into our tents and settled down for the night. Or they did. There were 2 tents and 3 people in a tent. This is where it got scary. Damn right, spooky freaking crap. After everyone was asleep, I woke up with a startle. I had a feeling that I was being watched. I felt very vulnerable. After about 5 minutes of laying there, I heard some animals running around the tents. After another 5 minutes, I got annoyed. I sat up in my sleeping bag and unzipped the window flappy thing that covers the mesh window, and I saw some coyotes. Okay, no big deal. We're 6 on 4. So I quietly zip up the window flappy thing and try to get back to sleep. I can't sleep. I wasn't worried about the coyotes, but I knew something else was out there. I had a terrible gut feeling. I felt like I had liquid fear in my veins. That's the only way to describe it. Then I heard a yelp and a whine. Then a second later, a soft thump. I heard the little coyote's feet running away. It took me a second to register what could have done something like that. Then it clicked, and it was like, oh crap, oh frick man, oh damn. That's not how things work. I realized that something must have kicked it big. There was an absolutely disgusting smell, like mildew, burnt milk, and body odor. I thought it was a bear or something, so my dumbass, saved me a lecture, grabbed the can of bear spray that I kept in my bag and grabbed my pistol. I unzipped the tent as fast as I could and froze in place. I couldn't move, like physically not able to move. Not because of fear. I don't know exactly what the hell it was, but the creature was doing it. What I do know is this. It was not a bear. It stood up. It stared at me for like 3 minutes straight. Whatever it was chiseled as hell, skinny, yet chiseled. Its eyes were black, with blue pupils. Its head was like the shape of an upside-down sock, but its cranium jiggled a little when it stood up. It was tall, like maybe 15 feet tall. No hair, lanky and skinny. Its skin was in between tan or opaque, but very smooth and shiny. It had long arms, long legs. It was humanoid, that's for sure. But its limbs were oddly proportioned compared to a human, almost dog-like. Or cat-like. Its neck was like a foot long, but it looked layered, like gills, but made out of skin. It breathed kinda raspy, like an old smoker. It had long curly fingers, no fingernails, or none that I saw. They just came to a tip, like a pencil tip. Its mouth was circular. I could understand what it was thinking. I could not hear its thoughts, more like its intentions. I hope that makes sense. I couldn't move because it didn't want me to move. It was studying me. It knew what I was thinking. It knew I was going to shoot at it. It didn't want us to leave. It just wanted to be safe and trusted. It was lonely. It let me go after about 30 seconds. I just sat down on a rock while I stared at it. No matter what, I could not break eye contact with it. I didn't feel like I was in danger, but after its heavy neck breathing and creepy eye contact, I heard a soft, almost anime voice type of whisper in both ears, and it said, "Green is the color of life. mattsgotstylebaby." Then it looked at me for confirmation, blinked, then said, "Okay, bye now." Then it closed its eyes. While it did this, I felt like there were green eye drops in my eyes. As soon as its eyes opened again, the green wash was gone, and it took off into the woods ridiculously fast, like 30 miles per hour. There was a line of kicked up snow that followed the creature where it went, but no footprints. I didn't dare follow it. I didn't know what it was, but I slept very well that night. When I woke up, my buddy Jeff, who was in the other tent, had said he had a dream that perfectly described the whole thing. He said he felt like it was real. I told him it was and explained it from my point of view. Everything was fairly normal after that, aside from guttural screeching in the middle of the night and me and Jeff being thoroughly spooked. Case notes or file 1373. Wisconsin's Whispering Grove. So it was warm on the inside, but not the outside. That sounds like what people who drink a lot of alcohol feel. Which isn't to say you were all drunk, more that it was a false sensation. There wasn't any extra heat, which makes sense, as the snow wasn't melting at all. Something was inducing that sensation from within, affecting your minds. Maybe this entity was trying to connect to your minds, and that was creating this anomaly of feeling heat. Here's a question to ponder on. If my instincts are accurate in this case, that this was an extraterrestrial alien, perhaps had crashed here a long time ago, trapped and lonely, awaiting rescue from his own kind, well, given the vastness of space, that could take a long time. Even with advanced spacecraft, maybe they don't have FTL drives faster than light. So in that case, it would be some sort of a long-term trip where you're in stasis for the majority of it, which is perfectly viable, it just takes a long time. So if that's the case, that could explain a lot of these creepy creatures that are encountered out in the woods, where these aliens, maybe only a handful of them around, dwell. My guess regarding the noises you heard after this event, just coincidence. Normal animal mating calls, or indeed the screams from animals being violently attacked by some other predator. I guess it's unrelated to this unknown humanoid that you encountered. The only thing I can't really explain, I've never heard before, is the sensation or the visual sight of green layering over your eyes. Never heard of an alien or any entity inducing that kind of thing. Very strange. Now time for the quote of the day. Whatever you do will be insignificant, but it is very important that you do it. Gandhi. I love this quote. I'm big into science fiction and just science itself, like physics and space and everything, but when you ponder the vastness of space, boy, you can quickly feel completely insignificant. But that's the wrong way to think about it. Is there a grand meaning to life, a cosmic scale purpose? I don't know, maybe not. And in that case, if that's true, then yeah, your actions now don't matter at all. In 1,000 years, even if you cure cancer, it won't really matter. They'll have cured it then again, twice over. But is that depressing? Should that mean you just give up and do nothing? No. What it means is, This is a kind of game, a simulation, if you will, if it is a simulation, maybe by God, maybe by humans in another dimension, I don't know. But what I can tell you is, all we have is what's in front of us and what connects us to emotion and reasoning. And that's other people, other human beings. So what we do does matter because it affects other human beings. And this is probably why I have trouble playing single-player games, because in reality, you're just playing against a computer. And to me, I can't connect with that. If I want to play something or do anything, and this is weird for a hermit-style introvert to say, but unless there's other people involved, it doesn't matter to me. But when you put another person, even just one, then everything matters. So nothing matters in the cosmic scale, but everything matters on the human scale. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.